Screen time salutations, Cognonox. Welcome to an episode of Exo Screen Time Continuum, where I mix in the introductions of two shows into one. I'm joined as always with my two lovely co-hosts, Nick and Keelan. How y'all doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. Happy Sunday? Sunday. Happy Sunday.
Saturday.
Saturday, whatever day. Happy Sunday.
Someday on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing well as well. Can't complain. It's definitely a good Sunday. I don't know what it is with this heat, but it was supposed to be 74 today. It was like 80 something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And in my house, it gets like 20 degrees hotter, so it just becomes like a sweatbox.
Maybe that's what it is. It's just, but no, I did some moving around today. But overall, it's a hot Sunday still.
Yep.
Hot Sundays all summer.
Yeah, all right. No, I'm doing well. And today we're gonna.
Nobody asked you, Mike.
Yeah, no one cares about me. Don't worry.
Right.
Don't worry, it's fine. I'm just gonna interject.
Good.
Information.
We are glad you are doing well.
But today we're gonna talk about Pig. Movie that came out in 2021, starring Nicolas Cage, directed by Michael. I'm gonna mess up his last name. Sonarski. Also written by him and Vanessa Block. And it's a movie about, it's a really simple story. A truffle hunter, farmer, gatherer, who loses his pig and he wants to get it back. I think with that we could just jump right into first impressions. It's a simple enough story, simple enough movie. What did y'all think about it?
Yeah, Keelan, why do you want to take this one first?
Oh, definitely. I could definitely go first. What I thought about this movie was a man and his pig. And that was really what when I first saw, before watching the movie, I saw the thumbnail, and the thumbnail looks almost like a rendition of the Hannibal thumbnail from way back in the day. I want to say that was like the 2000s Hannibal. But that's what it initially made me think of. So I initially was thinking like this would be some level of a psycho thriller, something like that. I can say, is it a drama? Yes. Is it a thriller? Not so much, but it is a lot more of a touching story than I expected it to be. I can say that for sure. And initially, I definitely liked this movie.
Nice.
That's all my sound convincing.
I'll explain.
All right.
We'll let him convince himself.
Yeah, I'll briefly explain. Nice. I'll briefly explain. I enjoyed this movie. I have some big WTFs that I just don't understand what the point of that was. But it's also a little bit, I don't want to say it's out of my element, but it gives me short film indie vibes. Like, if you're a filmmaker, this movie, I'm sure, jumps off the page to you a lot more than the average consumer. There were a lot of small things that I personally caught, and I think just really from watching so many movies, doing this show, and enjoying doing this show, so wanting to learn more and know more and see and do more. From that level of things, like I could imagine being a part of the crew that made this, and by the end of it, I'm sure they were like, yeah, some people might not get it, but we executed what we were trying to. And under that, guys, it seems like they got across what they were trying to. They got everything done that they had on paper. From what I'm looking at, I can't see anything they could have possibly taken out in post editing. That's what I mean when I say I enjoyed it. It seems like a full front to back type of a film. It's not I couldn't see it in theaters. I don't think it's one of those like, oh man, you're really gonna enjoy this. But if you can sit with something for a while, you may enjoy this. So that's why I enjoyed it, because I can sit with things that make you think deep.
Cool. All right, that's cool. Yeah. Let's see. What do I have to say? One movie, Who Hurt You? Seriously, who hurt you? Two, this movie is, I think, what we trepidatiously call high art. It's made by Neon, which is sort of like an indie studio like A24. This is a debut for the director. And it has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh,
everybody.
we know you could buy a Rotten Tomatoes. Let's stop being quoted.
The audience the audience score is not much lower than that. So
True.
what I have to say about this movie is that it is as vast as an ocean and as deep as a puddle. There are some interesting, compelling ideas in this movie that I like, and I like. Trust me, I went into this movie ready. I was like, Nick Cage looking for a pig. I'm in. Cool with that. Did I think maybe it was going to be taken with a pig? A little bit. Yeah, that was my fault. The movie did not give me any indication that would be the case, so I'm not going to put it on the movie for that. Yeah.
There were two different times where I literally thought, like, okay, here we go. He's about to become a killer.
Right. And I think that it's that's, it's a realistic idea to have a character that isn't doing all this crazy John Wick stuff. That's fine. I don't think I was expecting that, but I think this movie tried to tackle a lot of issues that I just don't think it just didn't even give you the respect to take any time with. And I feel like I don't know if I should applaud something that is trying to cover certain issues and just does it without even really caring that it's doing it, So I won't go any further into details because it's just first impressions. But first impressions was I see what they were trying to do, but I'm underwhelmed.
Okay. Well, I like this movie. I thought it was great. Well, not great. Like definitely on that scale between good and great. I like the subdued Nicolas Cage. It wasn't like over the top. You get like one scene where he goes a little bit into his known persona as being a crazy person, but it happens for like 2 seconds, and it was fine. The pacing, like this movie is definitely slower and has a lot of quiet moments. In that respect, it reminded me of Drive, so I can see where some people can find it boring. You get these little quiet, especially in the beginning when you were seeing his like day-to-day life. I think it does well with certain metaphor. It does make you think. It does make you stretch. It won't give you everything, and that might be the fault of the film itself, where you get some of the evidence, but maybe not all of it. But I haven't rewatched it. But all in all, I did enjoy this movie a lot.
Cool. I'm actually glad. It sounds like we have a little bit of a mixed audience here. So
right. I do want to add, as far as the story itself, I feel like the story is the story, and I enjoyed finding out by watching pieces of an interview. I didn't get to finish it. The director and the writer, or the writers, and one's the director, one's the producer, they didn't intend on getting such a big name like Nicolas Cage. So him signing on was more of a surprise, and I'm glad to know that by watching this movie. I want to say, even at the top, it didn't need a Nicolas Cage. Like the fact that it had Nicolas Cage, I started expecting deeper elements than were actually there. But the story itself gives you everything you need.
I would wholeheartly disagree with that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm down there.
Yeah, you know what? Let's just hash it out. Okay, so my assumption is that this movie is tackling the concepts of modernity and naturalism. You also have familial elements, the loss of spouses, all of that type of stuff, which are all very deep. On top of that, you have a relationship with a man and a pig, which could be interesting. The movie doesn't do any of these things well enough, in my opinion. The father-son dynamic between the kid and the father is half-baked and underdeveloped. The dead wife is an underdeveloped side plot. And at the end, the pig's fucking dead. By the dude who you just saw the day before didn't bother to tell you the pig was fucking dead. What?
Yeah, but it's also like stating that the traumatic events of losing the spouses have made the main character and then the guy who kidnaps the pig very cold and cut off. So that underdevelopment is purposeful between
I
the
don't
kid
know,
and
man. I'm not
They're
sure.
kindred
I'm not
spirits,
gonna
man.
buy the like it's all on purpose because it's subversion of expectation or whatever. I just don't think that they. I mean, like maybe they thought about it, but I don't really think that it's satisfying. I think that if you want to go dark and edgy, go dark and edgy. Don't be a wuss about it. I would have been fine with seeing somebody slaughter the pig in front of Nicolas Cage while he wept. I would have been
I thought
okay
he was
with
gonna
that.
kill somebody eventually.
But there's
You-
none of that.
I don't know if it's that type of movie though. Like
What type of
the
movie is it?
a metaphorical movie on trauma.
If
And
it's
So
There's
like
no genre
why
for this movie.
why doesn't the kid go in to see his grandma? It's the same
why was
reason
that in the
Mom.
movie?
No, that's his mom.
it's,
It was his
it's
mom.
the
Yeah.
it's the same reason that the kid doesn't go in to see his dad. He's just scared. It's like those take kind of more realistic turns than rather like
It's
the
not about
Hollywood.
realism. It's about taking the time to actually build that moment. Those aren't earned moments. None of those are earned moments in my opinion.
And that's where what I was saying about it being like it hits you more like a short film.
Well, yeah, it's only an
definitely
hour and a
not-
half.
Well, yeah, that as well. But the concepts, and that's why for me, if I were, and I actually did, I viewed this as a TV movie type of a movie. So that's why for me, the storyline does tell everything, and I see exactly where we differentiate in that, Nick. Where even with what Mike is saying, Mike and I think took just that liberty of like, oh, okay, you gave us these tidbits, we can put two and two together, let's run with that. Whereas for a film scale, that's trash. Like,
No, I mean,
give
look,
me the
you guys are absolutely entitled to enjoy the movie. You're not alone, obviously.
no,
People
that-
like
that's
it.
my bad part.
No, but I just think that, like, ironically, my favorite part of the movie was the first 20 minutes or whatever when he's in the forest with the pig. I love that. I thought the shots were gorgeous. Give me a movie about him looking for truffles. I would have watched that for an hour and a half. I mean, like, it was very, very pretty. Very, very pretty.
Yeah.
I just think that the story suffered. That's all.
I don't know. I
Okay.
disagree with I think those build up to those moments where you get like the passive conflict, like you don't see like the actual conflict. I think that was earned, especially with like the son's character, because he was always kind of like a cowardice type character. So to me, it makes sense, but I can see where you're coming from, where you do kind of want a big, more straight ahead build up towards these moments. You just
Not
don't
necessarily, because that makes me that makes it seem like I'm looking for some sort of normie take. But I just don't think that the movie did what it was trying to do, which I understand. I just don't think it did it all that well, if I'm being honest. Again,
No,
I
yeah.
could have gone for a more subdued movie. I just think that it was kind of rushed. It was just
Yeah.
kind of rushed through. The whole thing was about getting a pig, and then at the end, the pig's dead. Oops, sorry. Here's
hated that
$25,000. Like
Hey,
if you're gonna,
Took the 25 grand.
if he's not gonna, I'm not asking for Nicolas Cage to have the pig at the end, but at least watch the pig die or something, so we care. Like,
yeah,
that's
but
all.
it's never. I can argue that it was never really about the pig. Like he just loved the pig because he lost his wife.
Oh, you know,
And then once the pig dies, that's why he's able to go back and listen to that whole tape.
nothing about this story is about that damn pig. Like, that's why before we jumped on air, I was like, that damn pig, because this movie has jack shit to do with that pig. Nothing.
I mean, it drives the
Let's
whole
make this very
movie
clear.
forward.
I mean,
I think it does, kind
only
of.
because it gives him a motive.
Ew, got spam on our comments. Sorry.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out
Get
of
out
here.
of here.
But only because it gives him
yeah.
a motive. Personally.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think that the motive is totally fine, but also we're not even getting to the idea of the chef component, right?
Right,
Which
but I
feels
think
like
that's
it's also tacked on,
And that's what I was about to get at is that's, to me, the real movie is, who were you? Who is Robin Feld? And you're only going to get glints, not even glimpses, but glints and glimmers of that. And simultaneously, you're going to get this pig story. And that's where I do understand what you're saying, Nick, with there's so many stories compiled, but it's like, here's a pebble, here's a pebble, here's a pebble, here's a potato. here's a pebble, here's a potato, and hopefully it all
Yeah.
accumulates.
I have no
And
issues with multiple ideas. I just think that if you want to actually give any of these deeper ideas any credence, then fine. If he was a Ted Kaczynski character that was agoraphobic and hated the city, show that more.
right,
You know,
and I don't think it was
I would
any
have
of
liked
that.
to seen that a little bit
You know,
more.
no, I don't think it was any of that though. I think that we were given all of these tidbits and all of these minute stories so that they could hint on things like, oh, when you release your worldly possessions and you release all the cares in the world. Like I think they were trying to drive a lot of that home with the people commending him on, oh, you made like even Amir's dad, which I don't even think we even find out his name's Amir. I believe I had to go on YouTube or Wiki to find out his name was Amir. But with the kid's dad
Mhm.
and the kid's dad and him are, you know, you had it all figured out, or you had it right. You got out and you got to the woods, and it's like, wait, what? Time I realized, like, oh, this is one of those you had it all, and having it all isn't enough, like you said earlier about the minimalist and all of that being a part of the movie. So I think because of that, they just wanted to keep kind of circling back to that, and we got those small stories just to kind of, oh, hey, this person has this going on in their life. So we were supposed to, I think, by the end of the movie, see Robin. He's had this crazy up and down in life, and now he's kind of saved this kid from being attached to all of these terrible things that he's been through, and also woke the father up to how terrible he's been throughout his kid's life. Like all of that, okay, cool. If that's what you wanted us to get, that's why, like story wise, I get that. But
Yeah, I mean, and those are fine elements. I would have loved to see more about the father and
more,
son
yeah,
relationship. I would have loved to actually have some sort of resolution to that, because you're telling me that he's remorseful about how he treats his son. There's no evidence of that in the movie
no,
except
no,
for
no,
him
no. He's
crying
remorseful
about his wife.
for, I think, what happened to his family, not necessarily like, oh, my one kid. Like, no, 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 no. I lost my wife because I
Yeah,
lost
he
my wife. I don't
cares
have this
about his
relationship.
wife. I think
Yeah,
even the kid says that,
it's
right?
primarily about his wife.
Hmm.
The kids are a byproduct of me caring about my wife. In that situation.
Right.
But that's what I mean when I say nothing was about. Like, notice, just went through all of that again. Even those small tidbit stories, none of that related to. Nobody else had an interest in any damn pigs. Not even a little bit. Not even because they like bacon.
But they were like truffles.
Yeah, they
It's
thought
about
that
truffle hunting.
because they're under the impression they need the pig for truffles, which apparently also isn't true.
Yeah, which also felt like it was attacked on ad line to be like, "Don't worry, the pig is dead. You didn't really need him anyways. So what did we just spend an hour and a half watching?"
I didn't understand that either. Okay, so I had
Yeah.
to look up what
Anyways,
truffles were. Let's be clear. I
yeah.
had to actually look up exactly what, like, I know what truffle. I know they're edible. It's food. You know, I think it's mushroom or whatever. But I had to actually look up like why are they so important? What's the big whoop? By doing that, found out about truffle pigs, and apparently it's like illegal to own one because anyway. Um,
Probably in
but
California. Yeah.
no, apparently in the United States. But
Oh. Oh yeah,
right.
because it's probably a European thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Truffle
so.
pigs.
And
Yeah.
it's something about the way they damage the environment of the tree root. But the general point I was getting at is I didn't see anything about them being endangered. So immediately I'm like, okay, well, this truffle pig probably isn't as big of a thing until you get to the part where he's like, oh, well, I don't need the truffle pig. So again, the movie itself isn't about the pig. It's all about this dude and his weird quirks with, like, you know, walking in people's backyard and sitting and talking to their kid.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So-
I could see where it's a more of a character-driven piece for sure. Yeah.
Because that was definitely like oh, he's such a gentle-hearted person. There's nothing wrong with this.
Well, only in Portland could a bloodied homeless man walk up to an next to a little kid and not have their parents beat the living crap out of them. That's for
Bruh.
sure.
What
Yes.
parents? You saw parents?
No parents. No
You
parents.
saw I
Yeah.
just saw a kid playing a really cool looking instrument sitting
Yeah.
on the back porch of a large home with no adults present. If that's what's going on in Portland, hey, listen, Portlandites, you will not see me there. Or Oregonians, whatever. You won't catch me in Portland if that's how it's going down. That's weird. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be weird, right? He's supposed to be this sort of detached person. I mean, like, if we're not going to
He
label
wasn't
it
very
as
detached.
yeah, I mean, look, I don't even think Nick Cage did a bad job in this movie. To be honest,
No, I don't think he did a bad job.
I like Nick Cage.
I don't. I think maybe it sounds like I think he did a bad job because the character itself didn't. Like, again, to me, the story for what they tried to make it, yeah, okay, fine, I can follow the story, but the character,
Yeah, I think
really
I'm just
hard
the
to put it
reverse of
together.
you, actually. So I don't mind the character. The story was for the issue
Was
for
too
me. So
scattered.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, to each his own, then, right? Because
Mhm.
you know, like if you don't mind it, I thought Nick Cage did a pretty good job. You know, for what it was supposed to be. It was
I
interesting
think
seeing him.
Zach Braff. I think Zach Braff.
It kind of reminded like old man Gordon Ramsay. You know, kind of. I mean, it's like if Gordon Ramsay went to the forest for 15 years and came back. Which, you know, again, another element of the story that I was kind of interested in. What's up with this, you know, Portland restaurants scene? What's going
thought that
on?
was
Why do
really
they have
funny.
a fight club? You know, like
Why do the people in the Fight Club hate him?
why do the people in the fight club don't fight back? They just get punched for a minute? Is that the thing?
I definitely, and that's okay. Let's be clear. I also thought that's when I thought he was gonna turn into a killer the first time. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, he about to be the baddest man in Fight Club. No.
No. I think that was probably like a intentional sort of setup to not give you the thing that you think you're going to get, which is fine. I just don't. I mean, like, yeah. It is what it is, man. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
I think the most
Just
interesting
not-
tidbit is none of us hate this, but there are definitely some like,
What I really love about this film is that so far I've heard like two completely different interpretations of the same piece of art, and I have a different interpretation of it as well. So I find that really interesting. Yeah, because in my mind, this character, it wasn't that the character got everything you wanted and you wanted more. It's like the problem of being the best at something. What do you do after you're the best of it? And then you have like a psychological break, like losing his wife that was like a baker, I think, or she worked in a bake shop.
I think they ran. I think they ran a restaurant together.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was it.
The next
Yeah.
show
But
they
when
into a bakery.
when you see him go into the bakery, he
Mhm.
asked about the curtains, and she's like, Lori wanted them off. So, but yeah, either they work together or something like that. But yeah, like that psychological break gives this character the nerve to go into a backyard, the nerve to look like a homeless person, the nerve to kind of go out to the woods and just leave everything. And that was my interpretation of it. So I was fine with the story not being completely fleshed out like normally, just because there's parts missing from the character. So I expected parts to be missing from the story as well. And then it requires on you to put things together. And then like the Fight Club, I don't know if that was a fight club. It looked like there were people who would pay other people to beat them up. I don't know if it was like a,
I just know that
like
the character said it was a fight club. So
Right.
I don't
It's
Yeah.
like a Steel or an Iron Man type of a situation. Like how long can test your might type of situation. How long can you stand the test?
Mhm.
Well, also, I don't know if like head chefs go in there and then let like their
Their sushi,
their sous chefs or whatever come in and pay them money to beat them up too. Because there's a little bit of that vibe going on with everybody throwing the money down, where there was getting higher and higher to see who can have a minute to beat the person up.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but it was yeah, you get all of these little hints at stuff, and you get the hint that he left the fine cooking world because it was all fake, because there was something about it that just made him switch off. Maybe it was the death of his wife that made him switch off, just like the Amir's father character, he switches off after the wife dies. Because he even asked him, he's like, "Were you always like this?
Were you?
Always?" And he's like, "Well, were you?" And so you get those mirror things. But I find it interesting though how each of us can have a different interpretation of the same work. Because I think up until this moment of reviewing films, we've all kind of been on the same page as to like what the movie meant, and this is the first time where we're in disagreement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't think I disagree with you guys about what it meant. I just don't think that it was executed properly. I mean, it's definitely a modernity versus naturalism story. It's a, lost story. It's a little bit of like a retrieval story, saving the damsel, whatever. Um, but I mean, like, I just don't know if I just don't know if we wanted it a character study, I could have watched a movie about Nicolas Cage truffle hunting in the Pacific Northwest for an hour and a half, and I would have been fine with that, most
I
likely.
actually thought that's what we were gonna get after like
Would
the
have been
first
cool
few.
with me. Hey, bring in the kid and then have this dynamic between them, have their relationship actually fleshed out. Because the kid does a 180 turn in this movie, where the first 20 minutes he's this dickish dude that's doesn't want anything to do with this old man, and then all of a sudden,
Where he
he's like,
learns
I'm
he learned
ready.
that they're very similar. He learns
Right.
that they've both lost people close to him. Because in the beginning, you're supposed to think that he is like a Ted Kaczynski type character.
Right.
But
You're
he knew
supposed
who
to
this guy was
wholeheartedly.
this whole time. He told his
He
dad.
he was a business guy. He
Yeah.
told his dad about the truffles that this guy was finding.
Yeah, I don't think he knew exactly
Mm.
who he was. He just knew
Okay.
he was a proprietor of what he needed.
Hmm.
Yeah, and maybe even the dad put the kid on to finding this guy because it seems like he knew him like ever since he was like what does he tell Nick Cage like ever like you've been in my world this whole time the second you started selling to him.
Yeah, like he might have figured it out before the kid did.
Yeah. So there's like little hints at that, but it's never really explained. I do kind of like this whole weird food mafia thing happening where it looks like in like the high food world there is some sort of shadowy group that tries to steal and control all the best ingredients to have the best restaurants. I thought that was kind of cool. But
It's funny you say that because that does make me think of Nick's reference to the kid being kind of a dickish character at the beginning. Then that reminds me of he would be like those young up and comers in the mafia movies who they're floating around town trying to be the big guy until you realize like, oh, he's nobody. He's just been putting on in front of this group because this group doesn't know what's going on over here.
yeah,
So like when
yeah,
he gets to the city, that's why he's all nervous because he doesn't want to get called out on being the little fish in the big pond.
yeah. No,
Well, I
there is
mean,
some
he's his dad's
interesting.
the big fish, right?
Mhm,
What was the dad's name?
Nope,
Nobody knows.
no names were really.
There's my
spoken
point.
in this
No,
entire
he's
movie.
got a name. He's got
No,
a
he
name.
does, but no names were spoken.
Oh, I mean, Amir's name was spoken a few times when he
Yeah.
meets the guy outside in the alleyway, and he's like,
Oh, you're
"Amir,
right.
buddy, what's going on?"
And
Yeah.
Dave,
Robin's name gets spoken many times.
Robin, yeah.
Yeah.
His dad's name is Darius. That definitely
Darius,
was
yeah.
not spoken.
It was
Nobody.
once.
Darius.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I watch every movie with subtitles on too,
I
so
didn't see
that
it. Yeah,
helps.
so you're right.
Um,
I didn't see it, but yeah, I'm sure it happened. I'm just thinking like Darius. I would have caught that. Hey, yo, Darius.
Would
yeah,
you,
it's very. Very
what
cool
did
name.
what did y'all think of that scene when they're in like the fine dining restaurant, or were they like at his dad's place or whatever, and he just breaks down that poor chef's or that poor cook's career in front of
I'd be less worried about the cook's career and more worried about his teeth, bro. Those were some shark chompers if I've ever seen them. And I'm not one to talk. My teeth are crooked as hell too, but geez Louise, man. Woo! And he just kept smiling bigger and bigger and showing more and more of his teeth. I'm like, oh, dude, no.
Maybe they were prosthetics.
You mean the
Maybe.
cricket guy has cricket teeth?
The crooked guy, or yeah, the right, yeah. He's just got bad teeth. It's okay. It was just his. He was trying.
I just love it. He's like, well, why haven't you opened a pub? What was it going to be? Like he just keeps grilling him more and more on like why hasn't this character followed his dreams?
He looks
Why
like a
did you
pub owner for sure.
Yeah, he's like, so why'd you get back into this? This is all fake. It's all bullshit.
Mhm.
And I like characters that are like that, where they've come so far in their craft that they kind of can see the bullshit of like the really high refined stuff.
Yeah,
versus like the real meat of cooking, which is that visceral experience you get when you taste something that you see that can break down walls. Like later in the movie, the food that he makes is the same dinner that it was for Amir's dad and Amir's mom. And Amir's dad breaks down. So, like, yeah, like the realness of a craft can tear down the highest of walls of people. And I kind of like that message.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice message, definitely. I think as far as the food thing goes, there is a little bit of showing, but I think my biggest problem with the movie is that I'm being told that this guy is a great chef.
Right.
And the movie is telling me to just take that at face value, that everybody respects him and half of Portland owes their life to him. But I don't get to see a drop of that. So I have to just take it on face value that this guy is a great chef. And, the quail that he makes for the bad guy at the end makes him cry. I don't know, like I would have loved to see more of the politics of the chef world. I thought that was a really interesting scene. It would have been cool to see him as more of a connoisseur. Like we see him with his Nessamuk out in the forest cooking up some trail dinner, which is cool. But I don't think that the movie, except for the kneading of the dough, the movie really doesn't tell you that he's a chef until the movie tells you that he's a chef.
Any glimpses of his past in that light.
Yeah, and you could have peppered it in too. You could have had the kid picking up the truffles and him saying something incorrect about the truffle, and the guy's like, you gotta do this or this. You know what I mean? Or cook the truffle with blah blah blah.
That'd be like a great Gatsby moment, no?
No, but I mean, just peppering in, like, this is the way that you build the
saying.
Character into the thing that you want him to be, instead of just telling me as the audience member, oh, he's just this great chef.
I totally agree. I agree with that. I was just asking, like, if we were to relate it to something, would that be similar to? No, that's not Great Gatsby.
I'm not sure.
No, it's just a stronger setup for the payoff. Yeah, I mean, you do see you do see like little bits of the like his skills in cooking, but it's more like the way he chooses to interact with food that I think is supposed to tell you, which can be definitely hit or miss. But I was completely fine with it because the way that I took it was like I'm stuck with this mystery person and I'm going to find out about them as the movie goes on. So if you're taking that angle, then those like flashbacks until it's revealed, until it's revealed that he's a chef, and those flashbacks might damage the reveal that he's a great chef. But the reveal wasn't.
I don't think you need to do a flashback. You could have had him critiquing ideas that the kid had, or making a very slight comments to somebody while they're cooking, or something like that.
That chef that his food was shit, which he never actually did.
Well, I think he was making a bigger point, like you're not following your passion, and I think that that's fine for the character, because his thing seems to be cook food you love and not this pretentious shit. Yeah, and that's totally fine. I think that that's a great sort of message to have for a character. I feel like we're getting a little bit too much of tell and not show, which is a cardinal sin, I think.
There is. Go on, Kilo.
I was going to say, for me, the moment of the meal that struck the emotions out of the big bad guy, and the son never really even ate it, but at the end he's crying. Even the chef eats it. It didn't really make me think of this movie. Honestly, it didn't make me like, oh man, that's a good moment in this movie. It is a good moment in this movie, but it made me think of a show that I've seen before, and they have a live action and a cartoon of it. It's called Real House Husband. The Way of the House Husband. That's what it's called. And that's one of the premises of this guy. He basically is, short version, ex Yakuza, becomes a house husband, and his philosophy is he puts his love and everything into the food, and it can literally turn a cold-blooded killer into the dog walking sweetheart type and that's just his philosophy. Like it saves everybody's soul to have.
And that's wonderful. But do you not feel like that might be too fanciful for such a grounded movie?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It didn't feel like it had as much place in this movie as it did. Like if I didn't already understand the concept, I probably would have had a harder time understanding it in this movie.
Yeah, I think that that's where I'm at too. Is that, you know, like again, we've talked about groundedness in movies and all of that, and like I don't mind it, but you know, also having the final conflict be, oh, you made a really awesome quail, now I'm gonna go cry and tell you your pig's
So
dead.
your pig's dead.
You know, like I don't know, it's just
That was not
it feels a
the
little
expected
anticlimactic.
That just wasn't the expected response.
No, yeah, and look, subversion of expectations. I understand. You know, you want to subvert the viewer's experience and make them experience what you're trying to show. But I think that if you're doing that, you should make sure that you're doing it very carefully, because, yeah, I mean, again, I feel like it was a little bit of like, oh, okay. And then he goes back to his cabin. I literally thought he was going to load a gun and shoot himself in the face. I thought that was going to be it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, go kill yourself now, dude. Like, so yeah.
Now, why do you think we have these expectations? Why were you expecting like him to become like a John Wick character at some point, or why
I
were
wasn't
you
expecting that. No, I
a
wasn't
bigger?
expecting. Why was I expecting
climax?
an actual story that had some sort of change to the character? I'm so sorry. I don't know. Like, I don't know why I had an expectation that the character would
The
make some sort of
character
change.
did have an arc, though. Did have a change, a big
What,
change.
he listened to the video cassette?
Yes, he listened to the cassette of his dead wife.
Presumably that he's probably listened to many times before, because he even does it at the beginning of the movie, but he doesn't finish it. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
That's like the point, that it was so painful that he couldn't get past the death of his wife, so he projected the love of his dead wife into the pig. Once the pig dies, there's nowhere else to project the pain, so he has to go back to the cassette and deal with the pain, which he does at the end of the movie.
And he should have put a gun in his mouth and killed himself. No, I don't know.
Yeah, you need some action, man. That's what it is. No, you need to.
I don't need to be. You know, like sort of minimized because I'm critiquing an art house film. I think that, you know, like there is a little bit of this idea that we'll do mental gymnastics because a movie is an indie movie. And sometimes I don't really think that it deserves to be accoladed just because it's a low budget indie flick. No, so right. I mean,
like,
you know,
we're
1000%. We've talked about that a million times. We definitely
no one here is minimizing you. This is a completely safe space where your ideas are welcome.
Okay, now you're being condescending.
Yeah. I just want to make it clear.
But
minimize you. I'm saying we do mental. We do a lot of mental gymnastics when it comes to indie films. That is true.
Yeah, I think it's fashionable to say, "Oh, you just don't get it." And I think that what a lot of movies do is they rely on people saying you just don't get it so that it gets accolades.
What I'm trying to understand is like what each one of us needs as a moviegoer, right? And what do we need for the story to feel good? What do we need for the visuals to feel good? So
I think the visuals are fine.
It's just
would like a story.
Like, because there's a lot of subtle things that goes into, like, he doesn't eat, like, for him to be a chef, the whole chef thing, he doesn't eat anybody else's food in the beginning. Like, everywhere he goes, he doesn't eat anything until he gets to the place where he has to critique the guy to get the information he needs to get the pig. So it's like there's some extremely subtle stuff where the filmmaker could have felt like, oh, this is leading you in the audience member in the direction I want them to lead. But in reality, it's leading them off the beaten path. For sure. I try not to do mental gymnastics for indie films, but it's just whether or not you're showing me something that makes sense visually or narratively.
I feel like we could have even gotten more of him being a forager by him living out off the grid. Definitely could have got some foraging background and being a former chef who cooks out in that. Like, there were a lot of things that I think we could all consider that we would have liked to see. but I'm not gonna say what we saw was terrible. To be clear, I don't think anything we saw was terrible. But um, as far as expectations and or I think this movie specifically, I know I fell victim to it. Like I said, at least twice, where we're used to seeing a certain template. So you see a certain build up, or you see shit, somebody took your prized possession. Now we know you about to turn into a superhero. Like that's just how movies have conditioned us. And I think movies like this sometimes we get stuck trying to separate from that and identify what it is we're looking at because it didn't go down the path that we're kind of used to, or at least myself. I'll say that.
Yeah, but that's just subversion of expectations again,
Right.
which is fine and appropriate in many instances, but it's not. It doesn't make a story good just because
doesn't make
just because you subvert an audience's expectation. I think that's all I feel about that.
Okay. Now, okay, wait, no, I asked that question already. We all agree him walking in somebody's backyard is weird.
I thought that kid was gonna like cry or something, but he was so friendly.
Get behind and smack him or something.
Right.
Now, when he asked about the pig, well, what is it about the pig? Why did we do all of this? I loved her.
That's a fine explanation.
Nah, fuck that. I went.
No, I think it is.
Oh wait, let me explain why to me it's fuck that. I went
Okay.
immediately back to the beginning of the movie where he's like, "You're some homeless dude that fucks your pig." I don't fuck my pig. That's the only thing you heard him say. He went off on you for a whole 30 seconds. The only thing you heard him say was, "Fuck your pig," and you said, "No, you don't." But then you
Yeah.
turn around an hour later and say, "I loved her." Excuse me?
Oh, he loved her like he loved a dog, dude. You know, pigs are as smart as dogs.
I thought they were smarter, actually.
Probably smarter, yeah.
I thought they were
Yeah.
smarter.
I think they got like the capacity of like a 3 or 5 year old or something like that. Yeah,
But
I
now
totally
3-year-old.
believe I can totally buy that he loves his pig. I can
Yeah,
absolutely buy
1000%.
it.
I'm just saying they left that door open for them to begin on that note and then end on that note and not like, come on, you left that wide open. That's not even cool. Why did you start on you fuck your pig and then just I loved her and nobody says nothing? We just well it's sad now. No, it's not sad.
Oh,
well,
so
wait.
did you want the son to be like, so did you really fuck your pig? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just saying
Add that little zinger of comedy in there.
the next day they could have had a little comedy moment,
Yeah.
like, so how bad did you love her? Like, but no, okay.
Yeah.
I did feel like, again, for continuity purposes, it's like, all right, come on, you left that too wide open, and there weren't any jokes in this entire movie, so I was like, all right, there's a comedy moment.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
drama.
that's-
I don't, like it doesn't need to be funny at all.
That's
Definitely
what
a drama.
happens.
I think they need to take the thriller tag off.
That's what happens when you watch too much Marvel stuff. You're always waiting for that comedy zinger.
Oh, they killed themselves on the last one, right? That's what I think all of the critiques for the last Marvel movie is there are too many damn jokes.
Which is the last Marvel movie again?
I'm not going to say because we're not talking about that movie. We're talking about this movie. People can find out, I'm sure.
I don't know any of those jokes. I wonder why.
I will say that I would watch this movie over any Marvel
God,
movie that's
3
come out
times.
in the last, I don't
3
even know when.
times.
Yeah.
I will dissect every scene of this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matter of fact, how about this? I enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
Well, if you're gonna make me compare it to a Marvel movie, absolutely.
I did enjoy also finding out. I want to say they made what, like $38 million off of this. That's it. Like,
I would imagine the budget wasn't incredibly
or maybe
huge.
8 million, something like that. But no, but again, I say that because again, I have to admit this isn't not admit, but I have to acknowledge this isn't a bad 3.8 million is what they brought in box office. I have to acknowledge this isn't a bad film, but it is a film that it's a drama and it's considered a thriller, which at this point just means it's gonna make you think, because there's nothing thrilling about it. But it does make you think. Like you have to go into your mindscape and think to yourself, like, all right, what part of this made sense and why?
Oh, well, that's not the way it's supposed to make you think, dude.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's supposed to make you think about ideas of modernity and, the idea of naturalism and hermeticism and all of that
Yeah,
type
some
of
of that
stuff.
was in there.
Yeah.
Some of those seeds were planted. I'll give it that. But
And if,
Overall,
and
again,
if
just
you
interested in this guy and his pig.
also, if you don't have those ideas, like if you weren't exposed to those ideas, you're not going to think about those sorts of themes. I feel
Mhm.
like like the themes you run into first are like um, themes of like loss of companionship, right? Like having that pig as your best friend or whatever.
Searching for a mentor.
Mhm.
Yeah, and mentor searching, but also just you can go like the a weird statement on like achieving your dreams. Like what happens when you have like when you do too much and you achieve everything you want to achieve and you break down mentally. Because there's some elements in this that remind me a lot of something like In Search of Bobby Fischer, right?
Mhm.
Where they've stumbled upon this genius within this one thing, but now they're completely crazy because genius and insanity go kind of hand in hand.
Yeah, it's that like the archetype of the exiled master, right?
Yeah,
Um, the master who puts himself in exile because they can't take the world anymore, you know, and they're just
yeah.
over it. Yeah.
And just seeing that like I don't know if I've seen many movies that take that sort of really nice restaurant thing and then flip it on its head like this does with respect to culinary. Like there is one movie with like John Favreau where he works in the where he like
Oh,
he
chef.
yeah chef where he cooks
Mhm.
his there's no obvious allusions here to the filmmaking world where he quicks like this
Right.
big crazy big time fancy food place to go make food out of a food truck, right?
Right.
There's no
Yeah. Yeah.
allegory
Yeah.
there, no
Is the food
nothing.
truck made of iron? Maybe.
But same thing with like look, yeah, you get that yeah, In Search of the Mastered Exile, that thing, or the Exiled Master. That stuff, I feel like those are the things I ran into. I have to think about
Mhm.
the modernity versus naturalism because I think there is some stuff to play out there. I just haven't. My mind didn't go there. My
Yeah.
mind got
I
stuck
think
into
that's
like
him
the
not cleaning
interpersonal
himself
drama.
up the entire movie is a
Well,
perfect.
it's him only washing himself when he gets back to the river. It's also the scene with that gastro molecularologist chef where he's talking about the shit that he's making, and he's like, make pub food. Pub food is natural, you know, comfort food. And so I think that his whole stance is that like all of this modernity, this like cutting edge, even the chef says, oh, it's cutting edge, it's cutting edge. And his whole thing is he's Ted Kaczynski and he wants to just live in a cabin in the woods, which is cool. I don't mind that. Which, you know, makes
And
his response to the other chef meaningful because
It makes it make more sense.
yeah, it's the first time you actually get his philosophy in the movie.
yeah. No, it's nice. It's interesting that you bring up Ted Kaczynski. That's actually a pretty apt parallel because the dude was really smart.
Oh yeah, he was a genius.
Dude was doing mathematical research into like I think bounded functions or bounded fractions or something like that. But like high end like math research type stuff.
Yeah.
And you get the same vibe with this character where he probably was messing with some like R&D recipes for sure.
Oh, yeah. You saw the
We'll link to
fermentation jars at the end.
Yeah, it's pickling jars. Yeah.
I'm sure if you're pickling, you're fermenting somewhere too. Like you're out.
Oh yeah, it's the same. It's just the different way to say it. Yeah. That's
Well,
all.
no. I want to say, isn't it pickling until like 21
Pickling,
days?
I think, is vinegar. Technically, fermenting is like when you let something with sugars in sit.
Okay.
That's what it is.
I thought it was a time thing. It's a method thing.
Make some good old alcohol.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no. Yeah. If that's all we got for this movie, that's all we got.
I'm trying to go over. Okay, so there's also did the cameraman not have a gimbal?
The shakiness of it.
Oh, it kept making me really dizzy.
There were some parts that were like super shaky.
Very.
Like, and I get it. Like when they're arguing, you want to bring in the chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's so funny.
I think you know, like the documentary style doesn't normally bug me, but there was a point where there were two characters, and the camera literally swings to cut half of Nicolas Cage's face out of the shot, and then it swings back up, and I'm like, dude, just hold the camera still, man.
It's so funny. You noticed that. I saw some of those. I didn't think they were as noticeable, I guess, but some of the lighting for me was like do you realize you can't see half of his face, and it's the part of his face that's literally facing the camera? Somebody throw a spotlight just right behind the camera, throw it his way, just a little. He got blood on his face. I can't see the blood.
I
He's
did
a
like
black man.
Yeah, go ahead.
There could be some like if you can borrow from art, like if you see a character's face in shadow, that they're either somewhat in conflict or they're diving into like the darker side of their stuff. If the director and like the cinematographer know what they're doing, then that might be a purposeful action to take.
I almost feel like the first 15 minutes were shot by somebody else a little bit. Only because I could see that they used a lot of they were using high contrast in the forest, and there was a little bit of muted saturation with the colors and stuff. And then you would have these shots of like framing shots where the forefront is dark and then he's in like the doorway or out the window or whatever. I thought those were really stylistically pretty, but it seemed to have been abandoned a little bit later in the movie.
Different cinematography for interior versus exterior, or you just think time?
Maybe it's just a totally different setup. When you're in a forest, you probably have better, more natural lighting, so you don't have to make it artificial as much. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah,
fair point.
because you had like all of these really. Yeah, you had all these really tall trees that are very close together, so you have a natural canopy that's going to keep most of the light out, so you're not overwashing your shot. Mm-hmm. But you get speckles of light that come in, which create God rays, which is a nice touch.
You could. I also actually don't know the production process of this movie. It could have been something that they shot way early on,
maybe
like something to get more money or anything like that. Like there's was it Saw did this, so like Saw was originally like a 30-second short film that got shown at Sundance. You know the thing with the scene where she has the thing on her head and it's going to rip her mouth open. The Amanda sequence,
right?
Yeah, the Amanda sequence was originally just all of Saw that was shown at. That was the whole movie.
God, that's brutal, dude.
And then somebody really liked that idea and gave him money, and then the Saw series became a thing. So. Right. That, or like it could be just like if it's a stylistic choice, then it could be that he's just in his element. Mm-hmm. So he's more in nature, he's in beauty. Again, going back to the modernity versus naturalism thing,
right?
Where the naturalism is really beautiful, you have the cinematography done well, and then it gets worse as you get closer to modernity.
I could definitely see that because there's an establishing shot when he's driving into Portland, and the camera decides to get drunk. And start swaying around and doing a lot of dissolves into other lights and city buildings and all of that stuff. So they're trying to tell us that he's having an issue with being in the city. So yeah, I think it would have been nicer to see it on the actor than have it shown us through the camera. I think it would have been nicer to see Nick Cage more uncomfortable by being in the city. I think that was.
What you mean, wandering into your old backyard isn't?
he was pretty comfortable doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, talking to some kid about a
tree. Like he had the biggest balls.
About persimmons.
Yeah.
I don't think we have persimmons.
No, he just said you didn't. Stupid kid.
That foreshadows the death of the pig.
The death of the pig, is that because of The Godfather?
No, well, because the tree isn't there anymore. You can argue that.
Oh, right.
That was
like the use of oranges in The Godfather always denoted death.
Yeah, it could be something like that too.
I mean, it's probably closer to what you were saying, and probably not a Godfather reference, but
hey, you never know. The director might be a big Godfather fan, and
maybe. Yeah. God, dude, we're getting so many bot spam comments. My goodness.
So the bots like the movie, apparently.
Yeah.
Wait, are there any hot singles in my local area?
Funny enough, you ask. Yes, absolutely. And naked-hd.xyz flame emoji can point you to the right people.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Who did we friend recently? Jesus
Nah,
Christ.
it happens. Anytime you go live, they just there's always some bot roaming for live streams.
They're bored and they need the clicks. All right.
They are.
Anyway,
Mhm.
they are.
There's bots-
Also, I
bots
have to
bothering.
say, the name Robin Feld just doesn't seem like it would be the most like, oh, Feld, I know that name. Like, bro, everybody knew your name was Robin, so you just add
you
Feld,
wanted
and now all of a sudden you become special.
you wanted a better name for the chef,
I guess
like
so.
a more
Yeah,
memorable name.
viable or that
It
just
should
seems
have
very.
been. They should have been like Old Man Emerald, dude. It's just like
Something.
Old Man Logan, but Emerald Lagasse.
Old man Feld, maybe.
Old Man
It's
Feld.
funny though. I wonder if deep down, like once, like when Nicolas Cage was reading the script, if he felt a connection to the character because of the name change. Because he changed his name.
I see what you
His
did
name
there.
his name was Nicholas Coppola because he's like the cousin or the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola. Changes his name after doing
Like
Valley
Scarface's
Girl.
nephew, right?
Changes his name to Cage so that he doesn't ride off the coattails. He wants to make it on his own. So there might be some connection that he had with the character, which kind of like pulls him into the script even more. And if there's any actor who's going to be the crazy old man in the forest, it's like Nicolas Cage or Jim Carrey or Shia LaBeouf, one of those three.
It could be Shia LaBeouf too. Yeah.
Well,
I did like
classic pieces now.
Oh, right. I did like when Nicolas Cage was able to chew a little bit of the scenery. I thought that was pretty fine. I think he does a pretty good job. I don't know what to feel about Nicolas Cage. Is he terrible? Is he great? I know Community had that whole episode about him where it's like Nicolas Cage, good or bad. And it's like you just can't tell. I don't think anybody will ever tell. I think it'll be an anomaly in cinema for forever. Because I can't tell. Sometimes, and there are moments where I'm like, "Oh, he's doing really well," and then I'm like, there are moments where I'm like, "Oh, no, never mind." I don't know.
Sitting on camera, staring at the ground.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
It all depends, right? I think he's up there. I think he's up there in talent and skill. Reminds me a bit of like if he wants to fuck with you, like he'll fuck with you on like a Tom Green type level, like to get you to think he's insane or crazy, but deep down he has a pretty decent idea of what's happening.
I definitely agree. I just think that he takes crappy movies sometimes. Yeah. I mean, if you think about like The Wicker Man, the bees.
Oh, dude, we haven't. There's a Nicolas Cage movie that came out.
Oh, right. Yes.
He's fighting like the animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, I saw that trailer. Now that actually looks like a good movie. Honestly.
He must be doing better after his whole financial thing because he's been working hard.
Yeah. But that looks
like Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland.
That's something we might want to watch.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I think that's on one of my lists for sure.
It is the exact opposite of this movie,
right?
As far as Nicolas Cage goes.
That's what I'm saying, man. He's all over the place with his work. He also did that one with Pedro Pascal just recently, where he plays himself, right?
Yeah, where he gets picked up by the CIA.
Yeah,
unsurmountable weight of something.
Massive talent or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's trying to catch Sam Jackson in the numbers. That's all.
I mean, he's putting them out, man. He's definitely putting them out.
Yeah, the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Wow.
Hey, there's
super
truth.
meta.
There's truth in that, but yeah, like another movie I wanted to see. I was like checking out when it was in theaters, and I was like, I might go check it, but I wanted to see this first because I actually like seeing Nicolas Cage not be
Nicolas Cage,
the
right.
meme, but see him as Nicolas Cage, the actor, and I think he does great in this. I mean, I think you buy into his, like, you watch this, you don't really see Nicolas Cage, you see this character.
That is true. Yeah, I think he did a very good job about, being more subdued than he normally is. And yeah, I mean, like
the bike.
Yeah, he just screams at
yelled.
that kid. Yeah, I think he does the homeless look very well. I was disturbed by him walking around bloody all the time and cooking people food. If
Looking
I
like
were that
Braveheart.
dude, I would have not eaten his quail. I would have said, "You didn't even fucking wash your hands, bro."
Man, and you're definitely here to kill me.
He did
Yeah.
though. He washed his hands. Didn't he shave a bit too? He did something.
I don't know, but his face was still all
After he
bloody and
cooked all
messed
the food.
up.
Yeah.
Listen, he looks like Braveheart 80% of this movie.
Yeah,
It's
he's a
great.
solid mess. Yeah.
It's hilarious when the guy goes, "Do you need medical attention?" He's like, "No."
No, thank you.
Yeah, I would be
Can't sit in
asking
this
to.
restaurant. How
But
about that?
He's looking
there
pretty
is a-
gnarly.
there's a certain level of like, I don't give a fuck that you can get to where it's just red. It's just red on your face.
Mhm.
Don't touch my face. You'll be fine.
Don't get close.
His character too reminded me of this this math professor. So this is a story that comes from my math professor that I had in community college. He's in like graduate math stuff, like some graduate math lecture one day. They have this this like really young math prodigy coming in to give this lecture. And he gets there, he's really early, he's really excited. And he sees like this homeless, disheveled looking kid kind of just sitting in the front. And then like gets up and leaves and then comes back. It's like, all right, that's weird. And he just kind of keeps looking at him. And all the other kids come in and all that stuff. And it's time for the lecture to happen. And nobody's doing anything until this like homeless looking kid gets up. And then it's instantly clear that that kid is the professor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
So like the homeless looking person was the professor, and like this kind of like that sort of like, I don't, you just get so good at something that like, or
Care about everything else.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly, becomes your obsession.
Yes. Yes. And you know, yeah, that's the issue, right? I mean, he's by himself now. I think he needs to end it.
Needs to find a new love.
Oh, do you just want to see him just like fucking?
I mean, I would have had more
It's
respect for the
microphone.
movie if he just blew his brains out. Yeah, I would have. I really would have. I would have. I would have said, "Okay,
Hey.
movie, you earned my respect. You went there."
I'm
Nick
quite
said
happy.
this was a suicide movie. You guys dropped the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy. He has a
Lost his pig.
he has to drop off some product to the supplier of the later product. And on
He got a
Thursday,
new love. He got
Yeah.
a son.
that's it. Yeah,
You got a
Yes.
son.
Yeah, it's like a son and a friend now somehow.
The
He
pig,
has a
man.
son. He has a son that he's gonna make rich.
But
Yeah, that would have been nice too. Have him, the son. I mean, again, I just get frustrated because the story could have been about the son seeking this guy out to help him, you know, compete against his
Father
father's business,
Yep.
and that could have been a cool idea too. But yeah, I mean, you know, like I was very interested by the black market of truffles because I'm pretty sure that exists.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm pretty sure it's a very lucrative market too.
yeah,
I would imagine.
I would have liked to see the son and the dad have a "you broke my heart, Fredo" type of a moment.
Yeah, it broke my heart.
about it.
Yeah.
I knew it was you.
Truffle Mafia.
So the way that this story comes about, or like the way that this was crafted, was that the director was hanging out with truffle farmers who were telling him stories about how they would stay up all night and sit on their porch with shotguns and kill any competition that would come around. Anybody trying to poach their pigs or poach
Yep.
their truffles or
Oh,
poach
yeah.
their land.
It's scary out there, man. I mean, you don't like, yeah, you get shot for a mushroom. Like
Not even a psychedelic mushroom.
not even a psychedelic mushroom, just
Naturally
one you
grown
put on
everything.
French fries.
Years to grow, so I guess that matters.
Could you imagine now, like whenever I get anything with truffle sauce, I'm gonna have to look at it and be like, did someone die for
The
this
people
truffle?
that died to bring me this truffle sauce.
You first have to ask yourself, is it real truffle sauce?
That's
Yeah.
true too. That's
Maybe
true.
lying.
True.
Yeah. They do a lot of that manufactured stuff now. It did.
bad
It did
name
make me
truffle.
want to try truffles, though. I do want to. I want to like get the nice restaurant experience of what truffles should taste like.
You're gonna put it
I've
this
only
close
had
to your
truffle
nose, man?
fries before. Yeah. Oh yeah. You have to smell the earthiness. You know, it's like a wine.
Press it
Yeah.
into your face in order to smell it properly,
Pretty much. Yeah.
and then you remember where truffles come from.
The ground.
Oh,
Well, deep underground. They grow like 6 inches under the ground.
Mhm.
Like they grow pretty deep.
That's good soil, man. That's good.
Yeah,
That's good eating dirt.
Exactly.
That's good
That
eating dirt.
I
it's your
firmly
immune
agree with
system
that.
good and strong.
Yeah.
I must say, yeah, that's all the bacteria and minerals and microbes you need right there.
Bro, I did not know that that was a legit thing back in the day.
What,
Eating dirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And soil and all of that stuff. Like
Yeah.
the people just had it in their diet regularly. Just ate dirt.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they also ate so much fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, they're not
and
washing
root.
those. Yeah, of
They
course
ate
not.
plenty of root. Like I remember hearing root is like the real raw food, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Around here,
Also, carrot is a root. Know that.
there's a lot of tribes that sustain themselves off fruits,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't.
Didn't
Mhm.
learn that in this movie though.
Nah, it's not. It's not what it's so
I want to go
cool.
truffle hunting. I want to. I do.
It would be fun.
You could get a truffle pig.
I'm actually sitting here like that doesn't sound terrible.
No, it sounds pretty fun. Go through like the old growth forests and just have like a little truffle spade and maybe you get lucky.
You
Yeah,
feel
no,
me? You can take them home.
Mhm.
I think that's all I got for this movie. We kind of hit on the things that we liked, things that we don't like. I don't know if we need a beat by beat breakdown by this.
So I did learn a little bit. I hope we don't this far into it.
Right, we've already done it.
I mean, I could have, of course, but definitely not this far into it. I do have a couple of things about Carthaginium and Indicum. So they are.
Mhm.
I have no fucking clue what they are. He just said it, and I wrote it down so that I could have this.
Oh, I assume that they're just like a genus of truffle. To be honest, I
Right.
think like that's what I would have assumed.
I didn't even take the time to Google it this way. I didn't go ahead
Right.
and science our ear off this evening.
I just believed him when he said that. I was like, yeah, those are truffle types.
That sounds right.
That is,
Yeah.
I'm gonna believe that.
But originally I thought he said indica, and I was like, wait, are they selling mushrooms or weed?
Yeah, maybe
Right,
a little
what is
bit of
going on here?
both. Yeah.
Yeah,
not?
and that was another. Okay, so I want to say that at a certain point, after finding out like his dad was this big, baddish guy, and he wasn't fit for the business in the way they were alluding to it, I was thinking like maybe they are like Nick was saying, like the whole black market aspect of things. Like maybe there's a black market family, like they sell truffles, they sell weed. He about to go sell some ketamine to somebody.
Like a cartel, man. Yes.
Like a real one,
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
A truffle cartel. I would have been fine with that. Again,
thought
that's
that
too
was coming.
ridiculous for the story, but it would have been kind of funny. Yeah. They did
Might
kind of
have
get
to
close
research
to
that.
that, to be honest. I just feel like maybe they didn't commit fully to making that like a thing.
Well,
They didn't have to
then
be
you have
cartoonish
to-
about it.
you would have to like the second you do that, then you have to bring in like John Wick and that's where like
you're
the
right.
like solving the problem with making a dish that's extremely personal to the person goes out the window as far as the climax. Is you can do that when it's like in this case when it's one person, but you start to bring in this whole black market thing, the mafia thing. Now it becomes more unbelievable that he could make one dish for the whole black market and get them to feel bad about his
You just
big.
gotta
Certainly.
make it for the boss.
Yeah, I
You only
agree,
gotta make enough
definitely.
food for the boss.
But to be fair, I mean, he didn't get the thing that he wanted anyways, so he might as well just gotten the.
And he got
I
his
would have
ass
liked to see just kill Nicolas Cage right in front of his pig, man. Do it, do
or
it.
have him kill the dad.
Just kill the dad or something. No, I get what you're saying though. Yeah, you don't want it. I didn't want it to be John Wick like. I don't really like. I think I would probably rolled a little bit about that. But yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have a little bit of resolution with that.
I'm trying to think of so in this movie, no one dies.
Just people who are already dead.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Nope, not even the kid's mom's not dead. The only people that die is his
Right.
wife and his pig.
Oh yeah, the pig. Poor pig.
So the pig is the only like while you're watching the movie throughout the course of the movie, the pig's the
Oh
only
yeah, it's
guy.
only the pig then. Pig's the only character you
Interesting.
meet that doesn't get to the end of the movie.
I'm trying to remember the last movie I saw where somebody didn't die.
Doctor Strange.
throughout the course of the film, where one person on screen didn't die.
Oh yeah, plenty of people died in Doctor Strange, but the main characters didn't.
It's
What
hard,
movie?
isn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty hard one.
Yeah, but I mean that's not an accomplishment for the movie to not kill somebody. It's
Well,
just
no,
a,
but
it's
I
just
do
a
get-
thing that they did. That's
makes
all.
I do get it though, because for even we could be talking about a love story, and at some point somebody dies.
It just makes like
Yeah.
It's
I'm
like a
trying to
major
just
element
like
in movies.
understand like our own conditioning of like somebody, in order for us to feel resolution, somebody has to die in the movie.
No,
That's all.
but catharsis needs to happen. This is anti-catharsis again. I mean,
I
like
thought it
I
was-
no,
I got
it's
catharsis out of it.
it's cynical, dude. I really, I mean, like the whole movie is telling you that there was really no point to any of it.
I
It's
got a
cynical.
point.
Literally, he says that.
He
twice.
says that. He says the entire western seaboard
no
is going to be
point to any of
swallowed
it
by
all.
10 stories of water, so
Gonna
it doesn't
be
fucking matter. Like
depressing
that's,
ass.
you know, like it's
But when-
anti-cathartic.
That's the most
But when he's
depressing
listening to the song, that's like the first bit of beauty in the whole movie. Like, yeah, beauty in the way that like the radio people were talking about beauty being in classical music, how it'll be beautiful 200 years. It was beautiful 200 years ago. It'll be beautiful 200 years after.
shit. Mhm.
But that song at the end is beauty, and I feel like there's catharsis for that character. It's okay if the world ends, but catharsis for that character is achieved because he's able to listen to the whole song.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. If listening to the whole song was the main crux of his story arc, then all right. But you're just telling me now we went on a goose chase for a pig just so he could listen to a tape cassette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how does he
Like-
find Truffles? He needs to hear Lori's voice.
He's
You're
got a
welcome.
hear Lori's voice. Oh, Lori,
Welcome
Lori
to
shouldn't
life.
have died. Damn it.
Okay, so what? So to not feel alone, he either needed Lori's voice or he needed the breath of a pig on his leg.
Yeah, man. Pigs are fun. They're nice.
I
It was a
agree.
cute pig too.
Yeah, like I have a
Come on.
friend who raises pigs. Pigs are actually not the worst animals in the world. It's
No,
No.
they're not. Definitely
I
not.
never would have said that until I met a live one, but yeah, especially baby pig, like mini pigs.
Oh
my
yeah,
God,
well
they're so
yes,
cool.
they're very cute when they're little.
Just stay away from wild pigs. Wild pigs
Yes.
will fucking
Yeah, no.
eat you.
Yes,
They
they
will
will.
chase you down, gore you, and then eat you.
Mhm.
I have heard the stories because I have no problem saying this out loud. How I first started asking people about pigs is when I heard that pigs can eat a human body, and I was like, "Excuse me, who is
We
doing
all saw
this to
Snatch,
learn
we
these
know.
things?"
I was gonna say, have we seen
Christoph
Snatch?
told us, though. Yeah.
No, but just aside from that, like movies.
No, but they
you
literally
find out-
legit
yeah.
can just eat bone and
I
everything.
was like, who
Yeah.
learned this? Where does this information come from? Like,
The mob, the mob, the people who need to, get rid of bodies. Yeah,
it has
On a
to be
completely
fucking-
unrelated note,
yeah.
I just want to let you know I'm opening up a pig farm in 2023.
Good for you.
Hey, I just want to name. Can I come name the pigs? That's all
Yep.
I'm gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Bring all your friends and guests, and
Oh,
we'll
no.
have some good times. naming pigs.
Oh, no. Not unless you're growing some chicken and got some fish on that farm.
Chickens
No.
shit everywhere, man.
They
Jesus, they shit
They're
everywhere.
birds.
do. But they
Bird
provide
shit.
you 3 different types of meals.
I mean, they're great animals, but they
Yeah.
poop They poop in their own, they shit in
Yeah.
their own bowls
Their own
and
food. Yep.
it's just everywhere. I've had friends who'd have birds and the idea of a bird is cool until it's in your house and you realize that
Shit all over the place.
they don't
Everywhere,
have bird-sized diapers, unfortunately.
You'll never find a bird cage with solid sides. Have fun
That's
getting
right.
shit off the carpet in your floor all day long.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah. Should we get to our verdict?
I
Will
think
be-
it's very clear what we think.
No, I don't think so. I think we're
clear at all.
mixed. Okay. All right. Very good.
It's
You
very
got
clear
me.
that we have different opinions on this.
My
one.
autism
Is
kicked
that
in.
it?
I didn't catch the sarcasm.
Don't worry. Yeah, your brain back right past that. Don't worry, man. We've all been there. I've
Yeah,
done that
yeah.
too.
It happens.
Then immediately after, you're like, oh fuck that.
Yeah.
All right. I'll actually lend to the starting this train. I'll throw some coal into the fire.
Okay.
Yeah, I really wasn't sure how to rate this movie. Even after all my thoughts, writing out my notes, reading my notes, going back, watching some of the interviews, going through it again, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it was very difficult while watching the movie to rate it. It was very difficult at the beginning of this review to rate it, and as we have come to the bottom of the review, it hadn't gotten any easier to rate this thing. But I have something for us. I'm gonna go.
You're gonna
with a
roll the
six-
dice.
Yeah,
Just be like-
let me throw it out there.
There you go. Hey, he's got a dice.
6.5.
Like every gamer should.
Yeah.
Definitely, everybody. I think everybody has die laying around somewhere. But this is gonna get a 6.5 out of me. Could it be more? Sure. Not sure if I am the person to evaluate it to give it those extra points. Could it be lower? Sure. I'm sure I could have made it lower from some reasons, but it was still enjoyable. Not one moment of this made me want to actually turn it off. I was intrigued for more and more and more. Didn't get a lot of that more and more and more, but what I got, I'm not terribly disappointed with. And as we say on this show, it's definitely not a fucking empty man. So yeah.
I missed that movie. I need to watch it
Just a
again
little bit.
just to
I do
be
feel you.
disappointed. Just to be disappointed.
Oh no! Now you're getting back to like now you're enjoying the worst.
Yes.
Now you're gonna become like, you're like
Yes.
film fan. You're gonna be watching every
Get into
horrible
the
movie.
terrible B movies.
Oh,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
good.
See what they trying to do.
Yeah.
Yo,
No.
one day we're gonna watch this movie called How to Create a Monster. It's probably my favorite B movie of all time.
All right,
Tons of
I'm
people
down.
that went on to Game of Thrones is in that movie,
Nice.
but it's about a bunch of game developers that make a monster in the game that comes to life.
I love B movies just because they demand that you suspend your disbelief. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm all for that. I don't mind. I don't
I think
mind
we
that.
should
at
cover
all.
BAPS for the record. Oh, where's Dijon when you need him?
Dude, there's a ton of them on Amazon. We'll have to start making a list because there's like a whole section of just B movies. Maybe not even B, like D movies.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, funny enough, Keelan, I am gonna give this a 7. I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
hate. I'm like, I can hate something without and you know, without tanking the score. I understand the elements that were trying to be portrayed here. I personally don't find them satisfying, but there was the first chunk of this movie that I really liked. I really liked the shots that were being played with. I liked the silence that was being played with. I think the representation of the nature was really nice. I just ultimately think that they were a little bit unfocused with some of the aspects that they were trying to deal with, and the resolution to the story was absent, in my opinion. So, for those reasons, I don't think I can give it over a 7. But did I sit there and say I want to turn it off? No. It's an hour and a half. It's not going to. It's not really going to dominate too much of your time. But is it something that I enjoyed? Not really. So I can recognize for what it is and in the ideas that were trying to be portrayed. But yeah, I don't think I can go higher than a 7 for that. So that's where I'll put it, because there were some ideas that I liked about it. So I just don't
Right.
think that it was all well done.
I like the compromise. I'm gonna give it a 7, but did I think this was worth watching? No.
Yeah, right.
like
I mean, you know, look, but as I said, it's getting great reviews, so I understand people like it. That's fine.
Nominations and all.
Right. So look, you may like this movie, you may not, but I'm not going to ding it too much just because I personally didn't like it all that much.
I feel like
try to be
we're-
objective about it.
We're gonna start to drift into IGN scores pretty soon over there.
IGN.
Where like if it sucks, then it gets like a fucking like 9. Of
No,
extreme.
no.
Wait, 9.
No, because I don't think that it sucked bad enough in the elements that it didn't have this movie didn't give me enough for it to suck. That's the problem. I just don't think that it gave me enough, period. So whereas movies like The Empty Man's trying to give you something and you're just not taking it because it's awful. You know. Yeah, so I think the distinction for me is that I see that the movie is trying to give me something. I did not receive the something.
I
But
gotcha.
you know, yeah.
I gotcha. For me, I enjoyed this film. I think it was like a nice little, just small, tight story. It does get very art housey. So if you're not used to like slower pace, um, I guess a lot of silence, kind of, you can argue more boring elements, then you're not going to enjoy this. Like if you, especially if you like more actiony things, then this isn't the movie for you. On the drama side, if you like something like a Gone Girl, then this is going to be underwhelming for you because it doesn't give that pure psychological thriller aspect to the drama that you might expect. It can play with your imagination a little bit as to what you suspect is going to happen in the next scene or next parts of the movie. I think Nicolas Cage is great. I think all the acting is great. Yeah, for me, it's like an 8. It did lack some emotion there, but it's because I feel like at least for me, I was rationalizing it through a lens of trauma, where that emotion would be absent after the traumatic event because you want to go void of emotion. But yeah, no, like it was a solid 8 for me.
Yeah. Brings our score to 7.1.
Second one.
Well, it's just 7.1. Yeah, I think that's fine enough. Yeah, anything else, guys?
I think that's pretty down the line. That's kind of where I thought this movie was gonna land, in the 7 range, 6.5, 7.5 range.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Sweet sauce. Are we ready to take this home?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for listening. We very much appreciate all of you. Did you enjoy this episode? Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Am I out of line? Is Mike out of line? Is Keelan out of line? Let us know what you think in the comments. We would just appreciate you guys interacting with us and watching. So thank you so much, you guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks again for checking out some of our older stuff too. I do recognize that we have a few more subscribers now. So thank you guys for subscribing. We really appreciate it. Again, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And feel free to follow us on this YouTube channel, Screen Time Continuum, every Wednesday and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. You can check us out. We also have podcasts that are part of a larger network. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. we have If Numbers Could Talk with Keelan. He's on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Go check him out. If Numbers Could Talk, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Wednesday, Sunday, here, Screen Time Continuum. You know what time it is. Tuesdays and Thursdays, go check out our friend Dijon. He's got a Twitch channel called Strawberries and Coffee. He does great live streams, and he's got such a catalog of games. I don't know if there's a game that he hasn't played, to be honest. So go check out Strawberries and Coffee on Twitch. And he also has a YouTube channel you can check out for his archived videos. Friday nights, we have a podcast called Exofathom, which is hosted by Mike and myself, also Ayla. And we go on 8 p.m. at Exofathom on Facebook and on YouTube. Also Rumble, Verbal, and Odyssey. So you can check us there out at Exofathom, 8 p.m. Friday nights. Saturday morning, between 10 a.m. and noon, you're going to go check out This Married Moment with Bobby and Keelan. They do every Saturday mornings between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Spotify, This Married Moment. Go check them out Saturdays. I think that's all I got. I think I went through that without flubbing it too much, so I'm going to end it here. Yes.
Did you remember Screen Time Continuum on Sundays?
Yes, I did, but I included it on the Wednesday. I just added Sunday to it, so I figured I'd give myself a little bit more time, but now we've taken the time up by explaining it, so we're back at square one. No, it's all good. Oh, I got to get better at all of this anyway. So thank you guys. Have a great night for Screen Time Continuum. I am Nick.
I am Keelan.
And I'm Headphones.
Good night.
I thought I was gonna come up with like some cool.
I want my pig.
I want my pig. I'm sweating like a pig. Jeez.